Hello and welcome to a quick run through of TCD. The first thing I'm going to do is enter a job reference number. Now I can select one of these categories: luxury living, dedicated cinema room, cinema and media room with a drop down screen, a media room with a flat panel display only, or in the future we will have a pro audio setting. On this occasion I'm going to choose a dedicated cinema room. Now I'm going to type in some dimensions. I'll leave these as the default settings for ease. If you're in the US market, you can convert these to inches easily. Would I like to add a baffle wall? On this occasion I will, and the depth of my baffle wall is about 600 millimeters. I'm going to move down to the audio codec selection. So if I would like to use a Dolby Atmos setting, it's 5.1.2, 5.1.4 and so on. If I'd like to use a DTSX setting, or a legacy Dolby 5.1 or 7.1 setting, I can select a high render channel count, which will let the room decide, but on this occasion I'm just going to select 7.1.4, which seems to be the most popular. Now I'm going to move into the bass side of things, so where the subwoofers go. So I can choose A, which is side to side, either side, B, opposing front to back, C, the midpoints, D, all four corners, and so on and so forth. And I can actually now, in the latest iteration of 2.0, select cabs, and then I can choose how many of those I'd like. On this occasion I'm going to select D. Would I like all the same subs in all the same positions, and what kind of subs would I like? So now I'm going to choose some subs. I'm going to choose from a certain category, and then hold on, let me just see what else I've got. I'm going to choose a 15S and click OK. So once that's OK, I can minimize this now. If I don't have a subwoofer in the library, I can add my own subwoofer. For instance, if the subwoofer you've got isn't in there, you can add your own. Now I'm going to move down to video design. So I'm going to select a screen aspect ratio of 178:1. I'm going to select a suggested screen width based on that aspect ratio, a screen, a fabric type, and now I'm going to choose a projector. I'm just going to randomly choose a projector, so forgive me if it's not great. I'm going to choose a P3 Barco. I'm going to select this lens and say OK. If you don't have the projector in the library, you can do that as well. I think now's probably a good time to show people the 3D viewport. So if I was to bring up the 3D viewport, you can see that as I'm building the room, 4 subs in the corners, my seating location, my projector. If I now select the projector through the wall, you can see that the projectors drop through the wall. So everything I do now is replicated and represented in the 3D model. So, and these 2 green lines are the primary and secondary lens multipliers for that particular lens that I've selected, which was the EN61. I'm going to close this viewport down just for now, just for clarity really. As I've forced the projector through the wall, I'm going to select some glass, obviously to sit behind some glass, and randomly choose some glass. If I'm happy with that, I can minimize this bit and move on to streaming content. We've recently had Kaleidoscape join the database, so here you can select your movie players and servers. If I move on to room plan, now I can really refer back to the conventional way of doing things at TCD, which was selecting a seat manufacturer, selecting some seats. I may well want to add a second row, add another row of more seats. I can bring those further forward. Let's just say I move these forward, you know, to a place that I find acceptable. Would I like to add some D-box actuators? I think on this occasion I will. If I want to change the MLP from the front row to the back row, I can do that. I can change around, you know, lots of seat dimensions and step riser heights, and this will raise the plinth riser height. I'll show you again this in the 3D model, but this is just for clarity to run back through this. So once I'm sort of happy, and I'm not particularly, but you get the idea, I can confirm this layout. So I'm going to confirm this layout. Now I'm going to drop into some speakers. I'm going to say, I'm going to select the left, center and right channels to be all the same. I'm going to select some of this brand, some of these, and hold on, this one. Okay, now I'm going to select OK. If I don't have the speaker in there, I can add something myself or edit the speakers that are in the library. If I move down to the surrounds, and click OK. And now if I click on the ceiling speakers and move down to here, and click OK. So I've now completed my speaker selection, and I can minimize this now. And now I can move into the RT60. So if I was to select some materials here, and we've been through this all in previous iterations of TCD, keep an eye out for this, because this is going to change soon for you know, acoustic treatment placement. So here you can see that I've got a predicted RT60 time of 2.3. If I'd like to go in here and say, let me add some Art Novium products, I'm going to add some more, and then add some absorption on the front wall, and then I can add some more here, and I can add some diffusion on the side wall, and I can add some here and add some diffusion on this wall. And you can see that I've affected the RT60 time considerably. So if I were to go in here and add, you know, perhaps a little bit of absorption on the ceiling, you can see that I've sort of brought the RT60 time down to about half a second. I'm not going to mess about with this too much today, but we'll perhaps save this for another video. I'm going to confirm this and move on. Now I get to select my processor and amplification. So on this occasion, I'm going to select an Anthem. I'm going to select the AVM90. And now I'm going to choose some amplifiers. So if I choose some of these, and then I know that I've got 5 channels, but I need 15, so I can add some more until it says you're okay. If you don't have the products you'd like in there, like an AVR or a different processor setup, you can do that. This part down here we're going to refer to as a performance objective. I need 637 watts to achieve my performance objective, but if I was to reduce that to 99 dB and add 0 dB headroom, I'm going to need 80 watts. So I know that I can increase that considerably using the log equation of minus 3 dB per doubling of distance. So if I was to pull in there 104 dB or 103 dB, I know I need 200 watts roughly to achieve that. That's an estimated power output. Once I've got that, I can click calculate. So now the room is kind of built in 3D, and this will give you a really good opportunity to move things in accordance with you know, the base modes within the room, sight lines, and make any other changes in a kind of real world scenario. Okay. So now if I move into the 3D view and pull that room up, you can see that, you know, I have the room now in the way that, oh, let me just bring that down a little bit. So if I hide that, and now we're into this part here. So if I proceed to renders, I can choose, you know, in much the same way I did. This will change as well. I can, all I can say is just keep an eye, because we're working on things all the time. And let's just say this is red, and let's, you know, click to design. So this will run off now and start building the renders.